Definitely want to touch and talk about your playing career a little bit more, because one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast is just throughout my career in college, I had a few injuries and caused me to miss full seasons. And so one of the biggest things that I wanted to point out is talking to athletes or talking to just individuals when they go through adversity, when they're going through tough times, like what do they do to battle through it, or what have they done, or their foundation that brings them through to the finish line, and kind of gets to where they at. Because at the end of the day, it's like when you're off for a season, or maybe in your position when you were the backup, no one probably talked about you, no one mentioned you until you became that starter. And so just throughout that time where you were just, like you said, you were thinking about quitting and you were going through adversity, what were some things that that you personally had to battle through, that you've leaned on, that you've learned in that or during that time that kind of developed you into the person you are today?
Great question. And for me, my dad played at Ohio State and he was a captain there. So I grew up in a house where Ohio State was a dream, from growing up in Ohio, especially in that era. That's all. If you're in the backyard, you didn't have video games, you didn't have a phone. We had to entertain ourselves. We were out in the yard playing and impersonating Ohio State games. That's what we did. And in Ohio, in that era, especially, college football was everything. I know you guys are in Cleveland. The Browns are probably big, and the Indians and the Cavs. Well, where I lived in Ohio, it was all about Ohio State football. And then my dad played there and he was a captain. So, for me, that was like a dream. And so when I got there and I fell flat on my face, I was just shattered. It was like beyond. If I would have been a first rounder, obviously I would have gone, but it didn't really matter to me. All I cared about was playing for Ohio State as a kid. And then to get there and to see that dream that I had, literally every night I went to bed thinking about it, to see that gone, it was pretty traumatic to get through. I saw a sports psychologist. That was not a cool thing to do when I played. I don't know if it still was a cool thing, but I remember going into his office and kind of looking over my shoulder, making sure none of my boys saw me, going in there. And I would go in there and see him once a week. And it became almost like a lifeline for me and a turning point for me, where I went from feeling sorry for myself and why am I doing this, to this guy basically picked me up off the ground and gave me a reason to believe again. And, my family and friends, of course, were always supportive, but they couldn't really relate to what I was going through. But this dude, he could. And so I give him a lot of credit for getting me through it and helping me learn about not quitting, and about, when things don't go your way, it's, you gotta continue to grind, because you never know what's around that next corner. And so I fought through a lot of down days and adversity to get to a point where I started to see a little bit of hope my junior year. I'm starting to figure this out. I was a wishbone quarterback in high school, trying to learn how to do a 7-step drop. That's like, I don't know how to describe that to people, how different that is from one extreme to the next.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, but I was trying to, it took me 3 years to be like, Junior Seau sacked me one time when I was a freshman, and I didn't even see him. I was just like, let me go back to this right here, reading that defensive tackle. But I got through it. But again, that guy helped me a lot. And that's where I really started. I always was kind of an overachieving work ethic kind of guy because of the high school program that I came out of with our coach. But once I started to see life, and to be honest with you, I don't know if this was for you, Shaun, but my teammates, when I started to kind of get through it, they really believed in me. And they believed in me almost more than I believed in myself. And so, man, that really pulled me through going into my junior year, and then getting ready, be voted captain unanimously. We voted in the spring at the end of my junior year, and to be voted unanimous captain just told me what they thought about me. And then my confidence just took off because of their belief in what I could